On New Year's Day, when I returned home, my husband helped his first love stand in front of me, boldly handing me a standing ticket. "This is Cece's ticket, swap with her." When I didn't move, Lin Yanqing gave me a couple of shoves. "Suwani, I'm talking to you, do you hear me? Cece is pregnant, give her your sleeper birth ticket." Only then did I raise my head, look coldly at the two of them, and refuse outright. "This is my ticket, why should I give it to Tang Cece?" The pain of being torn apart by the train was still spreading through my body, and I couldn't help hugging my arms tighter this time. "I will never give in to you again." Lin Yanqing didn't expect me to refuse him in public, and he couldn't stand the humiliation. He started scolding me in front of everyone around. "Suwani, Cece is only 3 months pregnant, which is still an unstable period. As a woman yourself, how can you have no sympathy at all? You're healthy, why can't you help those who are more vulnerable?" Tang Cece rubbed her belly, thrust it toward me, and looked at me pitifully. "Wani, I'm not trying to take your sleeper birth, but I'm not feeling well, just take pity on me. This baby was not easy for me to conceive. The doctor said I can't overexert myself, which is why I have the nerve to bother you." After speaking, she symbolically wiped away 2 tears, with her and Lin Yanqing playing off each other. They completely depicted me as a heartless person. The surrounding passengers couldn't stand it anymore and began to persuade me one after another. "She's pregnant, just give up your seat for her. It's not like you'll lose a pound of flesh. If she were my friend, I'd give them my seat without a second thought." "Look, the pregnant woman's face is already pale. How can you be so cruel?" I looked coldly at the people around me making snide remarks. Sure enough, people love to be generous with others' possessions and rescue others from danger at no cost to themselves. In my past life, I was swayed by their words. Under the verbal attacks of these people, I was forced to switch seats with Tang Cece. She lay comfortably on the sleeper berth I had bought and had a nice, sound sleep. It wasn't that I didn't try to discuss swapping back with Tang Cece midway, but Lin Yanqing righteously refused, saying, "Don't disturb a pregnant woman's rest." And so I stood for over 40 hours straight in the crowded carriage. I was lethargic, and my legs were weak and sore. After finally enduring the journey to the station, I staggered off the train, only to lose my footing and bump into Tang Cece, who was walking in front of me, clutching her stomach in pain. She glared at me with resentment and said, "Suwani, just because I lay down in your sleeper berth, you want to kill my child." I was about to explain, "That's not true," then Lin Yanqing slapped me so hard that I went flying. "You witch, stay away from Cece." Losing my balance, I slipped and fell straight down onto the tracks, where an oncoming train crushed me beyond recognition. The police ruled my death an accident. It had no impact at all on Lin Yanqing and Tang Cece's lives. In fact, because of my death, Lin Yanqing smoothly inherited my house and savings, and went on to live a shameless, carefree life with Tang Cece. My consciousness drifted back. The pain of dismemberment still faintly echoed through my body. I looked at Lin Yanqing, whose heart and eyes were full of Tang Cece, and felt utterly disappointed. 3 years into our marriage, I thought my devotion would move the man before me. Unfortunately, as time passed, he only grew more demanding and entitled, taking my efforts for granted. I looked at Lin Yanqing's face, once so attractive to me, and now felt only disgust. I crossed my arms and gave a cold laugh. "I bought the ticket. If I say no, then no." Lin Yanqing, angered by my refusal, snapped, "Suwani, can you stop being so willful? Cece is pregnant," I responded with an indifferent "Oh, she's pregnant, so why did she buy a standing ticket?" Tang Cece's face turned bright red in an instant, but I wasn't planning to stop there. Knowing she's pregnant and still buying a standing ticket, that's just emotionally blackmailing the sleeper passengers. Anyone might think it's a scam. She won't think about her unborn child herself, so why should I, a stranger, do it for her? With that, I paused and swept my gaze around the carriage. Anyone listening might think the baby in her belly is mine. Even if the child in her womb is willing to call me mother, it still depends on whether I am willing to acknowledge it. Too. Tang Cece looked at me aggrievedly, her eyes brimming with tears. "Wani, how can you slander me like this? You were the one who bought me the standing ticket. How can you wrongly accuse me? I told you I was pregnant when you bought the ticket, but you still got me a standing ticket. Is it because you saw I was pregnant and you can't get pregnant yourself, so you resent me and want to kill my child? How could a pregnant woman like me possibly stand for so long?" After saying this, she choked up and burst into tears. I didn't expect her to think so quickly and turn the blame back on me. Lin Yanqing, standing beside her, was even more heartbroken and unhesitatingly pulled Tang Cece into his arms. "Stop crying, it's not good for the baby." Then, filled with remorse and self-blame, he added, "It's all my fault. I wanted Suwani to help buy you a ticket, but I never expected she'd get you a standing ticket." Truly, nothing is more vicious than a woman's heart. Even the crowd, which had just calmed down, began to seethe with indignation again. They first comforted Tang Cici. "Listen, miss, your mood matters most during pregnancy. Please don't cry anymore. With us here, don't worry, we won't let you be wronged." Then he started lecturing me right away. "How could you act like this? You knew she was pregnant but still bought her a standing ticket. Have you no conscience at all? I thought you looked decent, young, and presumably educated. How could you do something so outrageous and cruel?" Faced with the crowd's accusations, I didn't flinch or blush watching Lin Yanqing and Tang Cici clinging to each other across from me. I curled my lips slightly. "Oh, so you're saying I'm the one in the wrong here?" In response to my sudden change of attitude, the passengers around were stunned at first, then quickly chimed in. "If you know you're wrong, then give up your seat to the pregnant woman." "Exactly, that's more like it. There's nothing better than recognizing and correcting your mistakes." I stared intently at Tang Cici and Lin Yanqing, not missing the fleeting smugness in their eyes trying to steal my sleeper berth. No way. Just as everyone was about to heave a sigh of relief, my lazy voice rang out again. "Tang Cici did ask me to buy the ticket for her." Everyone looked at me in confusion. She only transferred me 100 yuan, but asked me to buy her a 500 yuan sleeper berth. She basically treats my card like her personal ATM. Everyone, be the judge for me. Should I just accept my bad luck, or accept my bad luck and be the fool who got taken advantage of? Her tone was full of helplessness and grievance. The passengers, who had just been indignant, all stared wide-eyed at me, then quickly glanced at Tang Cici. Her face instantly turned as red as a monkey's rear end. I sighed. "How about this? I can see everyone here is quite enthusiastic, and I'm not some unreasonable shrew. If any kind soul is willing to voluntarily give up their seat to this pregnant woman, I will immediately transfer this 100 yuan to that person. After all, she is pregnant. I'm sure everyone would be happy to help, right?" But as soon as I finished speaking, all the passengers who had been so eloquent just moments before fell completely silent. Yes, when it comes to their own interests, everyone chooses to remain silent, let alone this kind of thankless and unprofitable deal. Only Lin Yanqing resolutely stood by Tang Cici's side. "Suwani, don't morally blackmail others. This is clearly your fault, so why are you trying to make others bear it?" I smiled as I looked at Lin Yanqing. "So you do know what moral blackmail is, so it's fine to morally blackmail me, but not Tang Cici. How double standard." Soon, our argument drew the attention of the train attendant. She looked at me sternly. "The train is about to depart. Please return to your seats." Tang Cici suddenly clutched her stomach, her face contorted with pain. "Ouch, ouch, my stomach suddenly hurts so much." 3. The train attendant looked at Tang Cici anxiously. "Ma'am, what's wrong?" Tang Cici looked at the train attendant pitifully. "Hello, I'm pregnant and still in the high-risk stage. Just now, I've been standing for so long." Her voice was breathless and unsteady as if she were about to faint at any moment. "When buying the tickets, I specifically chose the upper and lower berths. My ticket was for the lower berth, while Lin Yanqing's was for the upper berth." The train attendant unhesitatingly placed Tang Cici onto my berth, but Tang Cici, as if startled, nervously stood up again. "No, she won't let me sit here." Though her face was full of grievance and fear, her tone sounded more like she was tattling to the attendant. Hearing Tang Cici's words, the attendant indeed fell for it and directly reached out to stop Tang Cici's feigned attempt to stand up. Then the attendant turned to me with displeasure. "Is this your seat?" I calmly nodded. After listening, the train attendant frowned even more deeply. "Ma'am, respecting the elderly and caring for the young is a traditional virtue of the Chinese nation. Giving up one's seat for the old, weak, women, and children is something we've been taught since childhood. How can you be so selfish? Since this Mrs. Tang is pregnant, we should be eager to lend a helping hand, not stand by indifferently. Look, she's so exhausted her face has turned pale. It wouldn't hurt you to let her sit on your sleeper berth for a while. If everyone were as selfish as you, what warmth would be left in our society?" The people around also nodded in agreement with the attendant. "This lady is really fierce, refusing to give her seat to a pregnant woman." Exactly. We've talked until we're parched, but she remains unmoved. "It's a good thing you came, conductor. You should really give this immoral person a stern talking to." Lin Yanqing added fuel to the fire. "And they call themselves good friends. They won't even give up a seat." The conductor looked at me in even greater shock. "Since you know each other, that makes it even worse. How can you be so heartless? Your own friend is pregnant and you turn a blind eye. Some friend you are. I bought this ticket." Tang Cici looked at the conductor pitifully and made a hypocritical excuse. "Comrade, I know you mean well for me, but Wani won't give me the seat, and there's nothing I can do. I might as well go to the standing room car." A single sentence instantly triggered the conductor's protective instinct, and he firmly held down the melodramatic Tang Cici. "All right, just lie down and rest." No one is going to drive you away. A gleam of smugness flashed in Tang Cece's eyes as she stared right at me. Wani, I'll leave it to you then. Sorry for the trouble. With that, she handed me her standing ticket. The conductor even gave me 2 pats on the shoulder. Get back to your own car. Quickly, the train is about to depart. Then he left for the next carriage. Lin Yanqing plopped down next to Tang Cece, patiently peeling an orange for her, and didn't forget to remind me, Wani, if you need any help over there, feel free to come back and find us anytime. As soon as the words were spoken, the elderly women around all cheerfully praised Lin Yanqing for being a good man. Only I stood by the window, tightly gripping the standing room only ticket in my hand. Tang Cece looked at me smugly. Wouldn't it have been better to give me the seat earlier? Instead, you made me stand for so long that my back is sore. After speaking, she shot Lin Yanqing a reproachful glance. Lin Yanqing, with an ingratiating look, comforted Tang Cece. There's something wrong with her. Don't get upset, it's bad for the baby. As he spoke, he considerately rubbed Tang Cece's waist, drawing a coy whimper from her. Anyone would think they were the real couple. In hindsight, my paper marriage to Lin Yanqing was nothing but a joke. He married me for my money, but gave all his love to Tang Cece. What a stand-up guy he is. I watched their intimate, oblivious interaction coldly, then turned and left the sleeper car. I borrowed a small megaphone in the dining car. I turned it on and recorded an audio message. Soon, the sound of the megaphone echoed through the entire train for, attention, passengers, attention, passengers. A pregnant passenger in the sleeper car of train K2808 is showing signs of a possible miscarriage. Is there a doctor on board? This passenger needs your help. Thank you. But just as it got to the middle, the train attendant stopped me, looking displeased. What are you doing? I put on an anxious look and said, hello, my friend just said her stomach hurt. I'm afraid something might happen to her child. Please help me. The attendant remembered Tang Cece crying out in pain just now, and without a second thought, joined the effort to find a doctor. With the 2 of us working together, we gathered 4 or 5 obstetricians and gynecologists in less than half an hour. When I returned to the carriage with the doctors, Tang Cece was leisurely lying in my bunk watching a show. Seeing me back again, she frowned unhappily. There's no room for you here. Why are you here? The next second, I grabbed Tang Cece's arm with a sad look. Cece, don't worry, I've already brought the doctors over. Your child will be fine. Tang Cece was stunned by my sudden outburst. What are you talking about? Lin Yanqing, who had just returned from fetching water, saw me holding Tang Cece's arm and pushed me away. What are you doing here again? Cece is pregnant. Can you stop picking on her? This time, everyone around, including the doctors who had followed me, looked at Lin Yanqing with strange expressions. One of the doctors even stood up for me. This lady was worried the pregnant woman might miscarry, so she specially brought several of us doctors to help. No one is picking on your wife. Upon hearing the word wife, Lin Yanqing glanced guiltily in my direction. Little did I expect that I completely ignored him, instead urgently asking the doctor to examine Tang Cece. Doctor, please check on my friend quickly. She was just complaining of a stomach ache. The doctors did not hesitate and moved to start the examination, but before they could even touch Tang Cece, she dodged away. I'm perfectly fine. No need for an examination. Without another word, I pulled Tang Cece aside. You're about to become a mother. You can't avoid seeing a doctor just because you're afraid. Be a good girl and let the doctor take a proper look. Are you at risk of a miscarriage? By then, even the surrounding passengers began urging Tang Cece, weren't you just complaining about a stomachache? See, your friend does have a conscience. He specially found a doctor for you. Just think about it. What if something happens to the child? Unable to resist the enthusiasm of the crowd and the doctor, Tang Cece reluctantly let the doctor examine her. 4 or 5 doctors took turns examining her, frowning and looking at Tang Cece, then finally turning to me. Your friend's baby is very healthy. She's already 4 months along, and the fetal condition is stable. Oh, so it's been 4 months. Before I could say anything, Tang Cece jumped in. That's good, that's good. I was worried that getting so emotional might have affected the baby. The doctor nodded again. As long as she doesn't run or jump, the pregnancy is very stable. I took the cue and said, so standing more often would be good for pregnant women too, right? The doctor didn't catch my drift but still answered dutifully, moderate exercise can make delivery easier. Hearing this, Tang Cece was about to argue back when I cut her off. Hear that? You've been hogging my sleeper berth for half an hour now. Didn't you hear the doctor? Now get back to your own carriage. The doctors were left completely dumbfounded. Tang Cece clutched the blanket tightly, stubbornly lying in the berth, looking pitifully at Lin Yanqing. Lin Yanqing, who had been silent just moments ago, immediately came to her defense. The attendant already said this berth is for Cece. Are you deaf or just forgetful? I looked calmly at Lin Yanqing. So even if she's perfectly healthy, you're going to take my place and give it to her? Yes, why don't you have any sympathy at all? I grinned. That was exactly what I wanted to hear. I sat straight on the ground in sorrow, wiping my tears. Everyone, please judge for me. How am I supposed to go on living like this? I have money, but is being rich my fault? Do I have to be your easy target? So to punish me for having money, you dare to hug and cling to your mistress right in front of me, your lawful wife. 5. With that one line, the carriage erupted again. Lin Yanqing, don't you like manipulating the public? Then why not let them see the true faces of you two, the lovelorn pair, after all? Just now everyone thought Tang Cici was his wife. Little did they expect the real wife was me. The gossip-seeking crowd instantly turned their attention to Lin Yanqing. Even the train attendant standing behind the doctor was stunned. What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Yanqing glared at me in fury. I blinked and said, aren't you my husband? Lin Yanqing had no way to deny this. I pointed at the two of them clinging together again. Then aren't you hugging Tang Cici right now? Then what? Nonsense, did I say? Lin Yanqing instantly pulled his hand away from Tang Cici's shoulder as if shocked by an electric current. Don't make things up here. I'm just showing extra concern because Cici is pregnant. Don't think so badly of us. If I hadn't already died once before, I would never have known that Tang Cici and Lin Yanqing had gotten together so early. When I married Lin Yanqing, we had already agreed to be child-free. Lin Yanqing didn't object either. I thought he, like me, had made a thoughtful decision. But now, looking at Tang Cici's belly, I finally understood. The destitute Lin family truly has a throne to pass down. Facing Lin Yanqing's explanation, I cried even harder. I even bought your sleeper train ticket. How can you be so righteous about spending my money to support your mistress? The passengers who had just indignantly accused me of ill intentions suddenly understood the whole story. Anyone would be furious in this situation. They immediately turned their anger toward Tang Cici. You, a homewrecker, actually have the nerve to ask the wife to buy you a train ticket, and a sleeper berth at that. You're utterly shameless. Exactly, you should be keeping a low profile instead of blatantly demanding money like this. And here I was sympathizing with you just now. Someone who climbed up by getting pregnant is no better. So young and already learning the wrong things, stealing someone else's husband. People like you will get what's coming to you. Tang Cici, bombarded by the passengers from all sides, couldn't get a word in and could only cower in fear behind Lin Yanqing. Seeing the overwhelming number of passengers, Lin Yanqing didn't dare to argue back. Instead, he fixed his eyes on me. Suwani, aren't you going to stop this? Just letting them spread wild rumors and ruin someone's reputation. Do you know that spreading rumors is illegal and could land you in prison? I cursed inwardly. He really is a coward, only daring to bully a weak woman like me. I must have been blind to fall for Lin Yanqing back then. I listlessly picked my ear and said, oh, defamation is illegal. But did I defame anyone? Weren't you enjoying it just now when they were attacking me? What's the matter? Now that Tang Cici is the target, your heart aches. I'm so moved by your unbreakable bond that I could cry buckets. I looked at the train attendant at the end of the carriage, pointed at Tang Cici, and said, this person has taken my seat. Could you please do something about it? Lin Yanqing looked at me anxiously and said, Suwani, don't go too far. How can you kick a pregnant woman out of her seat? Unfortunately this time, even the train attendant refused to help them. The attendant was about to kick his beloved Tang Cici off the train. I kindly came up with an idea for Lin Yanqing. Since you care for her so much, why not give your own seat to Tang Cici? The passengers let out a coordinated "oh," dripping with mockery. Lin Yanqing had no choice but to force an explanation. Cici is pregnant. If I leave, who will take care of her? Besides, my seat is the top bunk. How is a pregnant woman supposed to lie on that? I rolled my eyes speechlessly. You're quite something else. So you're into married women. No wonder you're not into me. As soon as I said that, the people around burst into laughter. No one bothered with Tang Cici and Lin Yanqing's drama anymore. After much pleading from Tang Cici, Lin Yanqing reluctantly swapped seats with her. Before leaving, he didn't forget to urge me to take good care of Tang Cici. I simply played deaf and dumb. Take care of her. Take care of the other woman. You've got some nerve. A kind-hearted woman leaned over and patted my shoulder. Sister, are you keeping a man like that for the winter? I nodded in agreement. This marriage has to end. Lin Yanqing looked at me angrily. Suwani, I'm still right here. Without even lifting an eyelid, I said, oh, you're still here. Sorry, I forgot. Come on, ma'am, let's continue. I went on gossiping about him right in front of Lin Yanqing. I didn't spare him any face at all. He left our train compartment with a dark look on his face. 6. I lay down comfortably on my own bunk. This time, at last, I didn't have to sacrifice myself for that pair of bastards. After being despised by everyone, Tang Cici could only lie alone on Lin Yanqing's upper bunk, utterly ignored yet. Thick-skinned as she was, she still tried to order me around. "Wani, I'm thirsty, get me a glass of water." Before I could say anything, an elder woman stopped her. "Don't you have hands or feet? Can't you get it yourself? I'm pregnant. How can you treat me like this?" The elder woman retorted. "It's because of lowlifes like you that the divorce rate keeps rising. In ancient times, someone like you would have been put in a duck cage and drowned, you know that." Her words left Tang Cici completely unable to talk back, having all experienced the bitterness of being deceived themselves. They naturally wouldn't give her a warm welcome. Tang Cici could only call Lin Yanqing angrily to come and help, having already stood for 4 or 5 hours. A haggard Lin Yanqing trudged to the carriage to pour water for Tang Cici, all the while complaining to me. "Wani, you weren't like this before. How did you become so hard-hearted? Oh, and you never cheated before either. So how did you end up like this?" My words drew more disdain and snickers from the surrounding passengers. Lin Yanqing could only shut his mouth halfway through, unable to stand any longer. He even came to discuss swapping seats with me. I pointed upward without even lifting an eyelid. Lin Yanqing gave a cold snort, then spoke gently to Tang Cici. "Cici, how about letting me lie down for a while?" Only to receive Tang Cici's gentle refusal. "Yanqing, it's not that I don't want to switch with you. Look, I'm on the top bunk. And a pregnant woman too. What if I bump into something getting up or down?" This was the result of Lin Yanqing's groveling. Quite amusing, really. Along the way, he chatted and laughed with the elderly uncles and aunties, eating and drinking, quickly fitting right in. If it weren't for Lin Yanqing and Tang Cici occasionally throwing a fit, this trip would have been absolutely perfect. More than 40 hours passed quickly. Feeling energetic, I gathered my things and got off the train. Not long after, I saw Lin Yanqing helping Tang Cici off the train, his legs trembling. When he saw me, he started complaining. "Why the hell are you walking so fast? Go get a taxi. I'm exhausted." "Oh, and you'd better get a private car. Cici's pregnant and can't ride those cheap, smelly ones." Tang Cici, touched, threw herself into Lin Yanqing's arms and said thank you. Lin Yanqing always acts like a lord. He's used to me taking care of him. Whatever he does, he naturally expects me to arrange everything. After all, I have both the ability and the money. He can enjoy all kinds of services. With his eyes closed this time, without arguing with Lin Yanqing, I obediently hailed a private car. I put my luggage in. Lin Yanqing was still calling out to me from afar. "Wani, come quick and put Cici's and my luggage in the car." I just smiled and looked at them. Truly a perfect match. Then I got into the car without looking back and closed the door. The driver stepped on the gas and headed straight to the hotel address I had provided. Lin Yanqing was stunned watching the car drive away. Limping as he chased after the car, his numb leg caused him to fall flat on his face. Muffled curses came from behind. "Suwani, you bitch." I sat comfortably in the chauffeured car. Perhaps I had indulged Lin Yanqing too much before, making him think he could humiliate me like this, and I still wouldn't leave him. This farce of a marriage needed to end. Some people needed to learn what hardship really meant. 7. Lin Yanqing always said he was the only son in the family and had been away from his parents for years. Since he only got to visit them during rare holidays, I tirelessly accompanied him home every time without complaint to improve his parents' living environment. I even paid to renovate their countryside house and bought quite a few furniture pieces and appliances in the first year after our marriage. Every time I returned home for the holidays, I would also bring back many valuable gifts. They always used these things to show off to the neighbors. As soon as I arrived at the hotel, Lin Yanqing's phone rang. "Suwani, what kind of spoiled tantrum are you throwing now? We agreed to go home for the new year and visit your parents." "What do you mean by leaving just like that? The elders are still worried about where you've gone." "What kind of daughter-in-law needs the elders to worry about her?" I let out a scornful laugh. Were they really concerned about me? They were clearly more concerned about the gifts in my suitcase. After all, Lin Yanqing's filial piety as a son was something I kept paying for. Without me, Lin Yanqing would have nothing. I sat lazily on the sofa. "Oh, didn't you bring Tang Cici along?" "I was afraid that if I tagged along, I'd get in the way of you two showing off your affection, so I thought I'd be considerate and book myself a hotel." "Shouldn't you be praising me for that?" Lin Yanqing was fuming but could only lower his voice to lecture me. "Are you done or not? I've told you. Cici is just someone from my hometown. We happened to come back together on the way. How long are you going to keep making a scene? Why are you so willful? Your parents have been talking about you nonstop. I'll give you half an hour. If you still want to remain a daughter-in-law of the Lin family, come back immediately." After saying that, she hung up the phone. "Just from the same hometown. I think you just don't dare. If your family didn't look down on Tang Cici for being poor and having a younger brother, you'd probably have already won the beauty Over by now, right? Back on the train, I already had my secretary look into Lin Yanqing's expenses over the years. Surprisingly, more than half of it was spent on Tang Cici. What a clever trick, selling yourself to support the one who got away. Even Tang Cici's prenatal checkup fees were paid out of my account. I directly called my lawyer and said, help me prepare a divorce agreement and debt documents. Just after finishing the call with my lawyer, I heard a knock on the guest room door. To my surprise, Lin Yanqing had come to the hotel to find me, bringing his parents and various relatives along. As soon as I opened the door, Father Lin and Mother Lin enthusiastically took my hand and said, Wani, why have you come to stay at a hotel? Then they glanced around at the decor and added, a place like this must cost a lot per day. How can you be so extravagant with money? I didn't say anything. Did I need the Lin family's approval to spend my own money? After Mother Lin finished speaking, she warmly took both of my hands and said, I know you've had some issues with Yanqing, and I've already lectured him about it. Which couple doesn't quarrel now and then? They always make up quickly after a fight. Then she looked at me earnestly and said, Wani, both you and Yanqing are no longer young. The problem in your relationship is that you don't have a child. A woman needs to have a child to be complete. Yanqing is the only heir of the Lin family. The bloodline cannot end. You can't focus only on your career and neglect family, right? I raised my eyebrows. So Lin Yanqing had blamed the lack of a child all on me. With his parents backing him, Lin Yanqing remained silent the entire time. If they want a child, isn't that convenient? I coaxed Lin Yanqing's parents with a smile. You're right, we really should have a child. Overjoyed by my words, Lin's father and mother immediately told me to pack my things and go back with them. I refused. I simply fobbed them off with a small trinket, promised to visit them in person the next day, and then saw them off. Before leaving, Lin's father couldn't help muttering under his breath about me. What a spendthrift woman. I wasn't angry. After all, their days of leeching off me were coming to an end. The next morning, I went straight to the Lin family home with the lawyer and the documents. On the way, I also picked up Tang Cici. She didn't hesitate for a second when she heard I had a holiday gift for her, and came along. Lin Yanqing was taken aback at the sight of Tang Cici, but without any hesitation, he trotted over to help her out of the car. Lin's parents happened to witness this scene. Lin's mother dashed between them in a single stride and slapped Lin Yanqing's hand away. What are you doing, pulling and shoving like that? What kind of behavior is this? Tang Cici's face darkened. It wasn't that Lin's mother thought highly of me. It was just that the villagers were terrified of getting entangled with the Tang family because the Tang family was notorious throughout the village. An alcoholic father, a paralyzed mother, and a younger brother addicted to gambling. Whoever gets together with Tang Cici will have to bear the burden of the Tang family for life. Men always like to play the hero. Unfortunately, Lin Yanqing had the heart to cherish the fairer sex, but lacked the means to truly help. I smiled and pulled Tang Cici to my side. We're family. What's all this about? Lin's mother gave me a displeased look and snorted coldly. Only a family with the worst luck would call her one of their own. I smiled, glanced at Lin Yanqing, and comforted Lin's mother. Don't curse yourselves. Lin Yanqing will marry Tang Cici soon. You two families were destined to be in-laws from a past life. Mother Lin and Lin Yanqing spoke at the same time. What did you say? What nonsense are you talking? Only one was shocked, the other angry. Mother Lin stared at me with wide eyes. Wani, what are you saying? I looked back at her calmly. Haven't you always wanted a grandson? I pointed toward Tang Cici with my chin. She's carrying your family's precious golden grandson. This is wonderful news. I even asked the doctor. It's a boy. I came today specially to congratulate the Lin family for having an heir. After hearing this, Lin's mother fixed Tang Cici with a venomous stare. Tang Cici trembled with fear. Lin Yanqing swiftly stepped in front of Tang Cici, carefully shielding her behind him, and looked at me with displeasure. Suwani, have you caused enough trouble? You're a barren hen. Are you trying to make me die without an heir? So what if I have a child with Cici? It doesn't affect you. Do you have to turn my household upside down to be satisfied? Lin Yanqing truly did not disappoint me. He admitted it so openly and plainly that also saved me the trouble of presenting the other evidence I had prepared. I merely responded with a faint "oh." Mother Lin beside me, however, seemed to lose all her strength and slumped directly to the ground. The lawyer, with a knowing look, handed me the documents. I took the documents and threw them straight at Lin Yanqing. Sign this, and you can be with your true love forever. Seeing that it was a confirmation of leaving without assets and debts, Lin Yanqing threw it to the ground without a second thought. I will not leave with nothing. You're dreaming. Even if we divorce, you have to give me half of the assets, as compensation for my emotional distress, wanting it both ways. Truly the funniest joke I've ever heard. You eat my food, drink my drink, And now you want my money. Unfortunately, how could I be unprepared? I clapped my hands a few times, and a construction crew came in and stood behind me. Tear down these houses for me. Lin Yanqing, without a second thought, stood in front of the house. What do you think you're doing? This is illegal. Stop it right now. I glanced at the lawyer, who directly handed over a business card. According to the law, Miss Su is not breaking any law by tearing down a house she built herself. This left the Lin family utterly dumbfounded. 9. Even Lin's parents kept begging me, Wani, let's talk nicely, please talk nicely. I simply ignored them. Lin's mother, furious, charged straight at Tang Cici, sat on her, and slapped her hard. Tang Cici could only cry out to Lin Yanqing, Yanqing, help me. I stood there quietly, watching their farce unfold. Lin Yanqing was caught in an impossible bind. On one side, his pregnant dream girl, on the other, the family house. After struggling for a long time, he finally rushed over to Tang Cici and shoved his mother aside. He pulled Tang Cici into his arms protectively and shouted at the workers who were dismantling the house, stop breaking it down, I'll sign. Then he glared at me and said viciously, Su Wani, you're so malicious, you'll get what's coming to you. What's coming to me? I took the signed documents. I glanced at the wretched pair on the ground and let out a soft laugh. If anyone deserves retribution, it's you. Before leaving, I kindly reminded Lin Yanqing. Oh, and when I came earlier, I had my people tell Tang Cici's alcoholic father that you'd gotten his daughter pregnant. I imagine he should be on his way here right about now. After saying that, I left with a smile. I heard that the Tang family has racked their brains over the years trying to find a suitable husband for Tang Cici, but any potential suitor who heard about their family situation ran off in fright. Now that Lin Yanqing has come along as the fall guy, the Tang family has latched onto him without hesitation. I had barely left the yard when Tang Cici's father showed up at the Lin family's doorstep. As soon as he entered, he landed a heavy punch on Lin Yanqing, making him vomit blood. Then he glared at Tang Cici and shouted, shameless good-for-nothing, you've completely disgraced me. I was counting on your bride price, and you let someone knock you up. Still not satisfied, he gave Tang Cici 2 vicious kicks. After saying that, he looked at Lin Yanqing. You bastard, you got my daughter pregnant. You have to compensate me for my loss. Let me tell you, whether you like it or not, you're going to marry her. The bride price must be 88,000, or I'll go to the police and report you for rape. Lin Yanqing's face flushed red as he looked at Tang's father. Are you marrying off your daughter or selling her? Tang's father looked at Lin Yanqing without a hint of shame. You've already slept with her. You don't get to bargain with me. No money, and you can wait to go to jail. Lin's mother and father, who had just barely recovered, nearly fainted again. Indeed, it takes a scoundrel to deal with a scoundrel. Without listening any further to their vulgar talk, I left this already impoverished village directly. Apart from the money Lin Yanqing owes me, which I will have my assistant collect regularly, there is no further connection between us. Later, I heard from the assistant who went to collect the debt. The Tang family shamelessly moved into the Lin family's yard, and every day was full of chaos and conflicts. Lin Yanqing not only had to tend to Tang Cici's pregnancy, but also had to care for Tang Cici's paralyzed mother. Tang Cici's younger brother came asking for money every few days. In the end, Lin Yanqing took all his anger out on Tang Cici and directly beat her until she had a miscarriage. Tang Cici stopped pretending and brazenly demanded compensation from Lin Yanqing, causing another uproar. 2 people started fighting and both ended up in the hospital. One limped, the other had a broken hand. Even their disabilities were so perfectly in sync. I smiled. This is what they call true love, I guess. Signed a document and handed it to the secretary. The glow of the setting sun spilled into the office. Stay away from the wrong people, and life will get better. The end. That's the first story for now. Don't go away. The next one is even more exciting. After being reborn, I deliberately showed up late to delay getting our marriage license with Gu Wenlin. In my previous life, after Gu Wenlin found out I was pregnant, he disappeared with Bai Xiaomei for 20 years. Later, when I was dying, he came back staring at Bai Xiaomei's portrait. He said to me, if I had gotten our marriage license with you just a little later, would things have turned out differently? When I realized I had been reborn, Gu Wenlin was standing at the dormitory entrance, waiting to go get our marriage license together. I lied that I needed to drop something off for a colleague and sent him ahead to wait for me at the marriage registration office. After parting ways with Gu Wenlin, I went up the mountain. Lying in Aunt Wang's rocking chair, I basked in the sun and gazed at the sea of clouds before the house. Aunt Wang handed me a roasted sweet potato and asked curiously, aren't you supposed to be getting your marriage license with Engineer Gu today? Why are you here? I took a bite of the warm roasted sweet potato. Smiling, I said to her, Auntie, I had a nightmare. I woke up feeling uneasy. Aunt Wang comforted me. It was just a dream. What matters is real life. After you marry Engineer Gu, you'll have plenty of good days ahead. Why be afraid of a nightmare? I was dazed for a moment, then smiled and nodded. You're right, Auntie. I'll stay here for a while and then leave. Marry Gu Wenlin. That will never happen in this lifetime. In my past life, Gu Wenlin and I had just gotten our marriage license and stepped out of the marriage registration hall. He ran straight into a young woman. Her name was Bai Xiaomei, and she lived in the village where we worked. On our way back together, Gu Wenlin remained silent the whole time. I thought it was because he was now a married man and had become more mindful of keeping an appropriate distance from female comrades, but I never expected to find out only when I was about to die. That collision was actually when Gu Wenlin fell in love with Bai Xiaomei at first sight. He wasn't maintaining distance out of propriety. He was full of regret that he couldn't have gotten our marriage certificate just one day later. After that day, Gu Wenlin became quite distant with me. He would often sit alone, staring off toward the village. When I asked him why, he avoided answering. After asking too many times, and with work piling up, I stopped pressing. I decided to wait until he was ready to talk to me on his own. After the village project ended, Gu Wenlin and I were assigned to different project teams. We had no choice but to live apart. I thought it was only temporary, but every subsequent assignment took him to the opposite end of the country from me. I mentioned it to Gu Wenlin, who only said calmly, "We must follow the organization's arrangements," until one day, I returned to the capital to report on my work. Overhearing my colleagues' conversation, I learned that except for the first time we were assigned apart, every time after that was the result of Gu Wenlin actively requesting it from his superiors. Gu Wenlin and I had a huge fight. Afterwards, he held me in his arms and apologized, but never explained why. After daybreak, Gu Wenlin left. I felt that my marriage to him had come to an end, but surprises always come when you least expect them. I was pregnant. Upon learning that I was pregnant, Gu Wenlin's previous coldness completely changed. He began taking attentive care of my daily life. He would clumsily learn to cook for me. He would press his ear against my belly, listening to the baby blow bubbles every night. He would accompany me on walks. Then one day, Gu Wenlin simply disappeared. I asked so many people and searched for him for a long time. No one knew where he had gone, and no one could tell me whether he was dead or alive. I started going to prenatal checkups alone, giving birth alone, taking our child to the hospital alone, and raising our child alone. I arranged both of our parents' funerals by myself. I thought he was dead, but when my life was flickering out in its final moments, he suddenly appeared before me. Only then did I realize that for those 20 years, he had been with Bai Xiaomei. They adopted a son and gave him all their love, but Bai Xiaomei's sorrow festered within her, and she departed before him. Her regret before passing was that she had never been able to become his wife in her lifetime. Gu Wenlin said he felt sorry for me, yet he also resented me. I thought that was utterly unreasonable. Since he didn't love me, why didn't he tell me sooner? He could have divorced me and built a home with Bai Xiaomei. He should not abandon his wife and children, nor neglect his parents. What right does he have to resent me? Yet my own son, whom I raised with my own hands, says he envies Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei's adopted son, who was raised with love. He blames me for bringing him into this world without his permission. Only then did I realize that without my knowledge, he had already been in contact with his father, all while keeping it from me. I stayed at Aunt Wang's house for an hour. After saying goodbye to Aunt Wang, I went straight to the marriage registration office. When I arrived at the marriage registration office, I happened to see Gu Wenlin helping Bai Xiaomei to her feet. I saw Gu Wenlin staring at Bai Xiaomei, unable to look away for a long time. A look of amazement appeared on his face, which had just shown a hint of anger. In my past life, I was busy helping Bai Xiaomei up and striking up a conversation with her. I didn't notice anything unusual about Gu Wenlin now. Seeing it from a bystander's perspective, everything was so obvious. Wenlin, I'm here. Have you been waiting long? Seeing me appear, Gu Wenlin's body tensed up, and he quickly became flustered. Ah, well, man, you're here. I noticed that when Bai Xiaomei looked at me, unlike in the previous life, her expression was complicated. Was that jealousy in her eyes? When I looked again, she had already returned to normal, as if it had all been my imagination. I'm very curious. In this life, we haven't gotten the marriage certificate yet. Gu Wenlin met Bai Xiaomei ahead of time. What choice will he make? Will he break up with me and choose Bai Xiaomei, or will he, like in the previous life, get the certificate with me while carrying on a double life with Bai Xiaomei? It's getting late. Let's go in and get the certificate. I pretended to be anxious. Gu Wenlin's face turned pale. Ouch, my foot hurts. Bai Xiaomei's timely cry of pain broke the momentary silence. In the previous life, Bai Xiaomei Wasn't injured, how did she get injured in this life? And at such a convenient moment, could she have been reborn too? I looked at Bai Xiaomei with scrutiny but didn't find anything. Gu Wenlin took Bai Xiaomei to the clinic. The doctor said there was nothing wrong except for a wound that would have healed if they had come any later. Bai Xiaomei blushed with embarrassment. Gu Wenlin, however, looked visibly pleased on the way back. They passed by the marriage registration office. A conflicted look appeared on Gu Wenlin's face. Man, they're off duty. How about we come back tomorrow? I said indifferently. We'll see. Registering for a marriage license requires an auspicious day. After all, it's just that there would never be an auspicious day suitable for marriage registration in this lifetime. A smile tugged at the corners of my lips. Gu Wenlin sighed. Alright, I'll talk to Aunt Wang when we get back. Gu Wenlin and I had come by bicycle. On the way back, Bai Xiaomei got onto Gu Wenlin's bike without a second thought. Gu Wenlin looked at me, a little embarrassed, but didn't refuse. I pretended not to notice and rode off ahead on my own bike. A cool breeze carried the sound of Bai Xiaomei and Gu Wenlin's voices. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but their tone sounded happy and Gu Wenlin's deliberately restrained smile. How long has it been since I last saw Gu Wenlin smile in my past life? It seemed that after he met Bai Xiaomei, there was never a smile on Gu Wenlin's face when he faced me again, but now, none of that matters to me anymore. When we entered the village, the villagers saw Bai Xiaomei sitting in Gu Wenlin's car, one arm wrapped around Gu Wenlin's waist. When they looked at me, they either winked or coughed and shook their heads. I knew what they were trying to say, but I still smiled and went back to the dormitory to prepare for the wedding. Gu Wenlin had already rented a wedding house in advance. Most of the belongings had already been moved there. I passed by the wedding house, stopped the car, and lingered for a moment. The wedding house had a bedroom on each side, a central hall in the middle, and a small courtyard. In my previous life, after returning from the marriage registration office, my heart was filled with sweetness when I saw the big red double happiness characters pasted at home. No one knew that the day before getting the marriage certificate, the groom was happily busy decorating the wedding house. Yet on the wedding night, the passion fizzled out. That night was just like countless lonely nights that followed. We lay quietly on the bed, doing nothing, yet neither of us could fall asleep for a long time. Before Gu Wenlin returned, I took my bicycle and went back to the dormitory. As soon as I got to the dorm, I took out the transfer order back to Beijing from the drawer. It was called a transfer, but in fact, a promotion and a pay raise awaited me upon my return. In my previous life, I gave up this opportunity because I was going to marry Gu Wenlin. 3 months later, we were reassigned to different places. Afterwards, Gu Wenlin deliberately went as far away from me as possible. Later, when I became pregnant, Gu Wenlin disappeared. Not only am I the sole caregiver for my child, but I also have to look after both my parents and my in-laws. I feel incompetent at work and have gradually been transferred from key departments to marginal ones. Throughout my life, I have never received a promotion or a raise. My son, who is in elementary school, often looks at my ordinary and busy self with disdain. He said, "Other mothers are all so good-looking, why can't you dress up nicely, like others, just like them?" By what? Bai Xiaomei. The more I recall, the more alarmed I become. So back then, his son was already in touch with his missing father, yet he kept it from me his entire life. How ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. At dinner, Gu Wenlin didn't come to find me as he usually did. I took my meal tray and went to the canteen myself. In the canteen, I saw Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei sitting face to face. They were putting food on each other's plates. I don't know what Gu Wenlin said, but Bai Xiaomei covered her mouth and laughed. When Gu Wenlin saw me, he was taken aback for a moment, then quickly stood up. Man, you're here. Well, Xiaomei just got home and there's no food in the house, so I brought her here to grab a bite. I was planning to bring something back for you later. I didn't expect you to arrive this early. There were already not many people left in the cafeteria. There were barely any dishes left either. I couldn't help but think of my past life. After we got our marriage certificate and came back, Gu Wenlin said he was going to the cafeteria to get some food, but I waited until very late for him to return. When he returned, his hands were empty. He only said to me calmly, "The cafeteria is out of food, just bear with it for one night." That night, if there was any sound to speak of, it was the growling of my empty stomach. So this was when, in my previous life, Gu Wenlin had already started taking care of Bai Xiaomei. I said nothing and walked past him. I scraped together the remaining food and took it back to the dorm. I had only eaten half my meal when someone knocked on the dorm door. It was Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei. Gu Wenlin looked at me with a complicated expression and gave a soft cough. Man, there's something I'd like to discuss with you." I looked at him in silence. Gu Wenlin glanced at Bai Xiaomei, who was standing cautiously by his side. There was tenderness in his eyes, and when he spoke again, his tone had grown more resolute. Man, well, Xiaomei just came back from the city. You know she's the only one in her family, and her house has been empty for a long time. It needs cleaning, since we haven't gotten our marriage certificate yet. I was thinking, how about we lend our wedding room to Xiaomei for a few days? I glanced at Bai Xiaomei. Bai Xiaomei flinched like a frightened rabbit and shrank behind Gu Wenlin. In my past life and this one, I see two completely different Bai Xiaomais. I wouldn't believe Bai Xiaomei hadn't been reborn, but I don't have time to play along with her. I don't want this man anymore. No matter how much Bai Xiaomei does, it's all just unnecessary in my eyes. Fine, it's your house, you call the shots. Gu Wenlin hadn't expected me to agree so readily. The words he had prepared stuck in his throat, neither coming out nor going down. But I don't like others touching my things. I'll go and take my stuff away later. Gu Wenlin was taken aback and quickly said, no, don't bother. I'll pack your things and move them to another room. It turned out he not only wanted Bai Xiaomei to move into our wedding room, he also wanted her to sleep in our wedding bed. How utterly ridiculous. I saw Bai Xiaomei curl her lips into a smile as well. After dinner, I took a flashlight and went to the wedding room to pack my belongings. When I arrived, Gu Wenlin was busy making Bai Xiaomei's bed. He was using the very bed sheets I had carefully chosen for our wedding night. Gu Wenlin looked surprised to see me. Man, why are you here? I put all your things in my room. Oh, I replied, then turned to go to the next room to get my things. Gu Wenlin followed me, his expression complicated, his eyes filled with emotions I couldn't read. Man. Just then, Bai Xiaomei came running out of the room. Brother Wenlin, that bedsheet is for you and Man to use when you get married, right? Would it be inappropriate if I sleep on it? I don't mind sleeping on dirty laundry. Bai Xiaomei's voice faded as she spoke. I saw a hint of pity in Gu Wenlin's eyes when he looked at her. He turned to me. Man, look, all the bed sheets at home are new. This one. There was no way I could miss the fleeting triumph in Bai Xiaomei's eyes, but she didn't yet know that I had no intention of keeping Gu Wenlin, that scumbag. Ever since I was reborn, I said indifferently, this bedsheet was bought with your money, so you call the shots. Thank you, Sister Man. Brother Wenlin, you two are so kind to me. Wow, I never thought that one day I'd get to stay in Brother Wenlin's wedding house and sleep on his wedding bed. That sounded somewhat off, and Gu Wenlin sensed it too, but he looked at me without saying anything, as if testing my limits, as if realizing something. Bai Xiaomei covered her mouth and put on an act of having done something wrong. Sorry, Sister Man. Actually, I mean, don't misunderstand, there's really nothing between Brother Wenlin and me. I think I'd better sleep on the dirty clothes. With that, she moved to take some dirty clothes from her bundle. Gu Wenlin quickly stopped her. I reassured Bai Xiaomei, it's okay, you sleep peacefully, it's not that big a deal for me. Gu Wenlin couldn't read anything on my face and stood aside, lost in thought. I was busy packing my things and had no time for him. Bai Xiaomei deliberately tried to cover up, only to make things worse. All she wanted was to provoke me, so that she could highlight her own vulnerability and victimhood in front of Gu Wenlin, to make Gu Wenlin detest me. But having lived a second life, why would I care? The only thing she should be grateful for is that in her previous life, she never dared to provoke me directly. I haven't danced enough in this lifetime. I approached Bai Xiaomei and whispered in her ear, little sister Xiaomei, you're overthinking it. Why would I mind? Your Wenlin brother means well for you too. How could you not understand? I wouldn't object even if he married you, but who knows if he'll actually marry you. I looked at Bai Xiaomei and then smiled, winking at her. Hearing this, Bai Xiaomei's face turned very ugly. She couldn't understand why I was different from the stupid and easily bullied homeman of the previous life, but soon she realized something, and when she looked at me again, her face was full of smug satisfaction. I packed up my belongings. Carrying my bundle, I was about to leave. Suddenly, Gu Wenlin called out to me from behind. He stepped forward, trying to take the bundle off my back. I refused. What a joke. Bai Xiaomei had already been reborn in her past life. She was the other woman her entire life. In this life, I'm here to take the legitimate place, since she already sees that piece of trash Gu Wenlin as her private property. I don't want to get mixed up in that mess. Seeing me dodge, Gu Wenlin looked at me with hurt in his eyes. Man, are you angry? I can explain. Strange, this was the same man who, in the previous life, would rather waste my entire life than open his mouth. Now in this life, he finally speaks, but I already know what he's going to say. Nothing more than taking care of me in name while emotionally drifting elsewhere. Explain, that's just overkill. Besides, Bai Xiaomei would never agree. Ah, exactly. Hearing Bai Xiaomei scream, Gu Wenlin completely forgot about seeing me off, turned around, and ran straight into the house. I gave a scornful laugh, tugged at the bundle on my back, and walked away. In my previous life, I was married to Gu Wenlin for 21 years, and my life ended at the age of 45. That age is considered a premature death. Back when I was giving birth to that ungrateful child, I had a difficult labor with a massive hemorrhage. That was when my health foundation was ruined. Later, Before I had even fully recovered, I had to take care of my son alone. I also had to look after Gu Wenlin's unreasonable parents. On top of that, I had to work while running around searching for Gu Wenlin. My health worsened day by day. Raising my son to the age of 20 was already the result of my utmost efforts. Over and over again, I hadn't had a single good night's sleep since Gu Wenlin disappeared. Now, living this new life, I did not marry Gu Wenlin. I did not drain my life away through toil and exhaustion. My body is healthy finally. I can sleep soundly and peacefully a night without dreams, the first good sleep I've had in 2 lifetimes. The next day, I asked my supervisor for leave and informed him that I agreed to be transferred back to the capital. My supervisor was puzzled. Didn't you say that after marrying Comrade Gu, you didn't want to live apart from him? I shook my head. I'm not going to marry him. For me, the most important thing now is my career. My supervisor looked at me and smiled with relief. In my previous life, my supervisor had also tried to persuade me. He said, with your abilities, you could aim higher. I was just infatuated, giving up such a great opportunity for a worthless man. I asked my boss to help me keep my departure a secret. I also discussed the departure date with my boss. Leaving my boss's office, I headed straight to the train station. Train tickets were hard to get at that time, requiring a long wait in line. As I rode past the house we were supposed to move into after marriage, through the fence, I saw Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei squatting together in the yard, brushing their teeth. Gu Wenlin naturally and skillfully took the towel off the clothesline and personally wiped Bai Xiaomei's hands. Bai Xiaomei looked at him with a deeply affectionate expression. It seemed that after one night, there had been a qualitative leap between them. Seeing me cycling past the entrance, Gu Wenlin's face turned pale, and he quickly moved away from Bai Xiaomei. I averted my gaze, ignoring the guilty conscience of one and the hurt look in the other's eyes, relying on my memory. I made my way to the train station. After paying to park my bike, I followed the crowd into the ticket hall. During this period, everyone traveling far from home carried large bags and small bundles, from tiny items like needles and thread to large ones like bedding and baskets. They brought everything they could onto the train. Watching the crowded masses, I finally decided to bring as little as possible, especially bulky items that take up space. Those I could sell, I sold. Those I couldn't, I gave away. After waiting in line for a long time, I chose a sleeper ticket over a standing ticket. I suffered through a lifetime of hardship in my past life. In this life, I just want to be good to myself. By the time I left the train station, it was already afternoon. After a lifetime away, with no experience, I forgot to bring food while waiting in line. I missed lunch to buy a train ticket, and now my stomach is growling with hunger. After asking around, I found the state-owned restaurant where I had been with Gu Wenlin in my past life. Back then, our colleagues set us up, and we agreed to meet here for a blind date. Gu Wenlin was good-looking, with fair skin, just my type, clean and neat. He was also in a technical trade, just like me, and both of our families lived in the capital city at the time. I thought it would be convenient for our families to visit each other, and he was also very satisfied with my appearance. We decided to give it a try. During our relationship, he wasn't exceptionally good to me, but he wasn't bad either. He took care of me in every way in daily life. He would also work with me to solve any problems I encountered at work. There wasn't much romantic spark between us. It was more about being compatible. I thought I would live a peaceful and quiet life with him. I never expected him to drop a bombshell on me out of nowhere. Gu Wenlin proposed to me after we had been together for 2 months. At that time, he decided to marry me, and I could tell he was happy, but in the end, a childhood sweetheart is no match for a chance encounter. The appearance of Bai Xiaomei made him feel the thrill of true attraction. His emotions began to drift. Love arises unbidden, and with it comes deep devotion. But he should never, ever have selfishly abandoned everything for love, wasting my life away. After parking my bike, I entered the state-run restaurant. There weren't many people at this hour, so I immediately spotted Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei sitting in the corner. Bai Xiaomei was the first to see me. She stood up and waved at me warmly. Sister Man, are you here to eat? What a coincidence. Wenlin and I are together. Please join us. Don't be shy. It's just an extra pair of chopsticks, she said. Truly the ultimate green tea bitch who managed to steal someone else's husband and keep him for over 20 years with just 2 sentences. She put herself in the dominant position. How embarrassing. I wouldn't want to intrude on your date. I glanced at Gu Wenlin with a smiling look. Gu Wenlin was visibly flustered. He quickly stood up to pull out a chair for me. Ah, Sister Man, don't get me wrong. Wenlin and I, we're not what you think. Wenlin just thought I was too thin and wanted to help me build some strength. There she goes, flexing again. Ignoring Gu Wenlin's gesture, I walked over and sat down beside Bai Xiaomei. Gu Wenlin touched his nose and sat down awkwardly. I was stunned to see the table laden with rich dishes of meat and fish. Wow, this meal Must have cost at least half of Gu Wenlin's monthly salary. He's really generous when it comes to Bai Xiaomei. Bai Xiaomei picked up a piece of braised pork for me. Sister Man, you have to try the braised pork here. Wenlin Gage said this place has the best braised pork and insisted on ordering it for me. He also said he'd pack another portion for me to take home when we leave. Here, try it, and try the fish too. I've never had fish this good before. Wenlin Gage said he would saute, and after we get back, he will cook it for me often. Gu Wenlin can cook. In my previous life, when I was pregnant, he was all thumbs in the kitchen, either dropping pots or smashing bowls. In the end, I pushed him out of the kitchen and cooked myself. So love can be faked. I took the braised pork and savored it carefully. It was truly delicious. Things in this era are genuine and substantial. The pork was really fragrant, and this river fish, no trace of engine oil flavor at all, truly fresh and tender. I savored it carefully, completely unaware of what Bai Xiaomei was saying. Ah, Bai Xiaomei suddenly shrieked, startling me so much that I nearly dropped my chopsticks. Sorry, Sister Man, I just got scared by a fishbone. Where was I? Oh right, Sister Man, have you ever tried Brother Wenlin's cooking? If you haven't, you can come over tonight. Brother Wenlin promised to cook for me. Isn't that right, Brother Wenlin? Ha. Scared by a fishbone, she really startled me. It was obvious that Bai Xiaomei, seeing my indifferent expression, couldn't stand it any longer. He deliberately scared me with a fishbone to get my attention. Go ahead, show off all you want. Once I'm gone, let's see who you'll show off to. Little Sister Xiaomei, you're so lucky. Brother Wenlin and I have known each other for so long, and I never knew he could cook. You two just met 2 days ago, and he's already agreed to cook for you. Thanks to you, I'm in for a treat tonight. She originally wanted to drive me crazy with jealousy. To her surprise, I didn't care at all. Bai Xiaomei was stunned. Gu Wenlin's face fluctuated between pale and ashen throughout the process. I continued eating, completely unconcerned about their reactions. When my plate of tofu with scallions arrived, I pushed it toward Bai Xiaomei and Gu Wenlin and invited them to share it with me. The meal was much quieter after that. Finally, I could enjoy my meal in peace. Leaving the state-run restaurant, I said goodbye to Bai Xiaomei and Gu Wenlin and rode off on my bike. I needed to go to the post office to call my parents. In my previous life, after Gu Wenlin disappeared, I raised our child alone, had to take care of Gu Wenlin's parents, and also work every day. I spin around like a top, busy as can be. For some reason, even though my family background is in no way inferior to theirs, Mr. and Mrs. Gu simply look down on me. Not only do they refuse to help me with the child, but they also find ways to make life difficult for me. If I show them even the slightest bit of displeasure, they come to my workplace and make a scene. Back then, having a stable job was no easy feat, and on top of that, I had to support my son, so I endured it. When my parents heard about my situation, they helped me out as much as they could. Even while taking care of my grandchildren, they thought they'd find someone else to marry me off to. But when old Mr. and Mrs. Gu found out, they went to my parents' house and caused a huge scene. They accused our whole family of trying to drive the two elderly people to despair. Not only that, but whenever a man was willing to meet me for a potential match, old Mrs. Gu would follow behind with my son. Then she would have my son run up to me crying and making a scene. Gradually, no one was willing to come for a matchmaking meeting anymore, so I gave up on the idea of remarrying and focused all my energy on raising my son. During this time, my parents suffered a lot of grievances because of old Mr. and Mrs. Gu, but they were more worried about me. Even when they passed away, the one they couldn't let go of the most was me. The call was answered quickly. After a lifetime apart, hearing my parents' voices again made me cry. They heard the choke in my voice. My parents were very concerned. They thought Gu Wenlin had been mistreating me. They were so angry they wanted to come over and settle the score with him. I reassured them and told my parents everything that had happened recently, as well as my decision. On the phone, my parents were silent for a long time. In the end, they just said that if this was a decision I had reached after careful thought, they would respect it. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. I told them that I was transferring myself back to Beijing. The train ticket for my departure was for 3 days later. My parents said they would definitely prepare many of my favorite dishes and wait for me at home. I returned to the dormitory and opened the door. I found Gu Wenlin sitting at my desk, flipping through some study materials. I almost forgot. He also has a key to my dorm room. I breathed a sigh of relief seeing that the drawer with the transfer report was locked. My relationship with Gu Wenlin is unclear right now, and I don't want any more trouble before I leave. Gu Wenlin saw me come back and quickly stood up to pour me some water. He had something to say but kept hesitating. I sat on the bed, slowly drinking my tea, waiting for him to speak. Finally, he couldn't hold back anymore. He turned his body toward me and said, Man, what you're thinking about Xiaomei and me isn't true. I swallowed the tea in my mouth and said calmly, "What exactly am I thinking?" Gu Wenlin choked on his words. If I were still the same Ho man from my previous life, I would have believed him whether he explained or not, but after all, I've already lived one lifetime, seen and experienced my own miserable fate no matter how many times Gu Wenlin explains to me. It's all just hot air, he said it himself at my hospital bed. Before I died in my past life he fell in love with Bai Xiaomei at first sight. That was true love. It is not comparable to the bond between him and me. I am more like a third party in the relationship between him and Bai Xiaomei. It is a flaw, a thorn in the flesh, man, believe it or not. I just think that since Bai Xiaomei's parents have both passed away, she is a lonely girl with no one to rely on, so I want to take more care of her. When Gu Wenlin explained this to me, his eyes were evasive. He didn't even dare to look me in the eye. How could I trust him? Yet I still gave my word. Okay, I believe you. Can you leave now? I've had a long day and want to rest. Oh, and please leave my dorm key behind. Gu Wenlin's face instantly stiffened. It was obvious that he could also tell I didn't trust him. After Gu Wenlin left, I wiped down the chair he had sat on. Dirty, truly dirty. I started packing my things. In the 6 months I had worked here, I didn't have many belongings. They are just some clothes, bedding, and everyday items. What really needs to be sorted out are the wedding items bought together with Gu Wenlin. It seems I need to find some time to settle accounts with Gu Wenlin before leaving. Just then, a knock came at the door. It was Gu Wenlin. He was holding a box of pastries in his hand. He happily handed it to me. Here, man, open it and take a look. I took the pastry box and opened it. Inside were money and ration tickets. Gu Wenlin said with a smile, "I've been ready for a long time. After we get married, all my money will be in your keeping. Just give me my monthly living expenses." Looking at Gu Wenlin in front of me, I suddenly felt he was a stranger in my previous life. Handing over his paycheck was out of the question. After we registered our marriage, I never saw a single cent of his money. When I had a massive hemorrhage during childbirth, his parents didn't contribute a penny. Instead, they shouted, "Let her die. It's a waste of money to keep her alive." It was my parents and my brother and sister-in-law who paid the doctors to save me, which is why I survived. I was the one who paid for his parents' medical expenses and their funeral costs later on. During the 20 years Gu Wenlin was missing, he secretly stayed in touch with his son. Presumably, he also kept in contact with his parents. Whether he gave them any money, I don't know. All I know is that before Gu's mother passed away, she called my son into her room. When my son came back out, although he tried hard to look sad, I could still see the secret delight in his eyes. After the funeral, I searched her room but couldn't find anything of value. Later, I fell ill, and with no money for treatment, I had no choice but to let it drag on. This procrastination lasted all the way until the final fleeting moment of clarity before death. Thinking back to my past life, Gu Wenlin probably knew I was sick and needed money, thinking that my son might have hidden the money his grandmother gave him, yet was unwilling to use it to pay for my treatment. I only felt a dull, suffocating pain in my heart. Gu Wenlin saw me suddenly start trembling all over. He anxiously stepped forward, wanting to help me, but I pushed him away with all my might. Leaning against the wall, it took me a long while to finally calm down. When she looked at Gu Wenlin again, there was nothing but coldness in her eyes. Gu Wenlin's heart skipped a beat. I looked at the money in the iron box. Since Gu Wenlin had brought the money, there was no reason for me to end up at a loss. The debts from the previous lifetime couldn't be settled, but those of this lifetime had to be. I took half of the wedding expenses from the box, handed the remaining money and the box to Gu Wenlin. Gu Wenlin saw what I did, was confused, but didn't ask anything. Even the most oblivious person could sense the change in me. He couldn't understand what had happened in just a few minutes. He only felt that something seemed to be slipping out of control. After confirming that I was physically fine, he left. Looking back again and again that night, I slept very restlessly. I saw my past life. Gu's parents told Gu Wenlin about my severe hemorrhage during childbirth. Gu Wenlin merely grunted indifferently on the phone. I also saw that when our son was still a baby, Gu's parents hid it from me and secretly took him to meet Gu Wenlin. Gu Wenlin knew I had been looking for him, yet he conspired with everyone to hide it from me. No wonder everyone who knew him refused to speak to me about him. I also dreamed of colleagues I had worked with for many years in my previous life. They praised the love between Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei. As for me, his wife, I was nothing but the carelessly mismatched red thread of the drunken moon god. In their words, how utterly ridiculous. The dream ended, and tears had soaked my pillow. But I'm still alive, living healthy. There's still a chance in life, isn't there? The next 2 days, I was busy with work handover. I made plans with Bai Xiaomei to try Gu Wenlin's cooking, and also because of the money box that quietly blew over that night, I thought that was the end of it. Then, in the evening, Bai Xiaomei came looking for me. She invited me over for a meal. It was hard to decline such kindness, so I agreed. When it was time to eat, I arrived at her door with gifts in hand. Through the fence, I saw Bai Xiaomei and Gu Wenlin embracing. Gu Wenlin's hand needed the softest part of Bai Xiaomei's body. When he saw me, his face turned paler than I had ever seen it. Bai Xiaomei also looked startled. She hurriedly buttoned up her nearly fully opened blouse without saying a word. I turned and left. I ate the lavish meal Bai Xiaomei treated me to tonight, but no need to give me a gift. Not long after I left, Gu Wenlin caught up with me. He grabbed my arm and anxiously tried to explain. Man, let me explain. What you saw between Xiaomei and me isn't what it looks like. What does it look like? That you two were hugging each other, half-dressed. Or that your hand was where it shouldn't be. Though I'd been busy with work handover these past couple of days, I still heard plenty from Aunt Wang. Aunt Wang can't stand homewreckers, especially someone like Bai Xiaomei, who not only knowingly gets involved as the third party but also repeatedly provokes the legitimate partner. She always reports the disgusting things Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei do in real time. She said, someone in the village saw Bai Xiaomei deliberately rub her body against Gu Wenlin, and he didn't dodge. Someone saw Bai Xiaomei and Gu Wenlin eating from the same bowl of rice. Someone saw Bai Xiaomei and Gu Wenlin holding hands in a secluded place. At this moment, Gu Wenlin in front of me looked rather disheveled. I couldn't understand how he had done so many things with Bai Xiaomei, yet you still came to me, asking me not to misunderstand. Do you expect me to take care of your parents at home for you, just like in the previous life while you and Bai Xiaomei were sweethearts outside? Before Bai Xiaomei showed up, I was the only one who could get close to you. Within an hour of Bai Xiaomei appearing, you carried her in your arms to the hospital. In less than 3 hours, you let her sit on the back of the bike and wrap her arms around your waist. In less than 5 hours, you abandoned me and took her to eat at the cafeteria. In less than 7 hours, you let her stay in our wedding house, sleep in our wedding bed, and use the bedding I prepared for our marriage, the bedsheet. You've known her for just 1 day, yet you're willing to spend half a month's salary treating her to a feast. Again, known for just 1 day, yet you're willing to cook a meal for her with your own hands. You don't avoid her touch, you share a bowl of food with her, and you hold her hand. Now you hug him and caress her, and still you can stand before me and swear that nothing is going on between you. Do you really think I'd believe you, perhaps? Because each of my sentences was more explosive than the last, Gu Wenlin couldn't help trembling. His lips moved as if to speak, but not a single word came out. Let me guess, you're afraid I'll misunderstand, so you feel you have to explain yourself, even throwing money at me to make me believe you. On the day we agreed to get our marriage license, you fell for Bai Xiaomei at first sight. She also took a liking to you, so she pretended to be injured to stop us from getting the license, and back then, because you had feelings for Bai Xiaomei, you didn't really want to go through with getting the license with me, but maybe over these past days, you figured things out. You love Bai Xiaomei and want to romance her under the moonlight. I looked Gu Wenlin right in the eyes and said, word by word, but at the same time, you need a capable wife to help take care of your parents. It would be even better if that capable wife could also see to their end-of-life care. Am I right? At those last words, Gu Wenlin jerked his head up to look at me, disbelief in his eyes. Seeing the shock on his face, I actually felt sad that he had wasted his entire life as such a scheming person, sad that the little bit of sweetness I thought I had after marriage was nothing but a joke. I could no longer deceive myself. Likewise, I would not allow Gu Wenlin to continue deceiving me. That evening, I returned to the dormitory to pack the things I needed to take with me, but Bai Xiaomei showed up. At that moment, she looked at me with a vicious expression. Oh man, you've come back too, haven't you? Seeing how calm I looked, she let out a light sneer. When she looked at me again, her eyes were full of contempt and mockery. In your past life, so what if you occupied Wenlin's wife's place? In the end, you still ended up being a maid to his parents for your whole life. The son you raised with so much hardship called me mom behind your back. Haha, don't you think that's hilarious? Your husband was mine, and so was your son, and in this life, even though you've also been reborn, you can't change the fact that Wenlin loves me. In this life, Wenlin's wife will be me, and only me. Even though I was utterly disappointed in my son from the previous life, hearing that he called Bai Xiaomei mom behind my back still made my heart ache unbearably. The ground hurt a little. It's okay, no matter whether he allows it or not in this life, I will never bring him into this world. Bai Xiaomei, like a rooster that had won a fight, kept jabbering on and on in front of me, but when she saw the look in my eyes as I gazed at her, pity, sympathy, compassion, but no anger, she fled in panic. In my eyes, she was nothing more than a pitiful person, just like me in this life. Without me behind the scenes covering for her and Gu Wenlin, can they still live a happy life like they did in the previous one? A little past midnight, unable to sleep, I left the dormitory to look at the moon, but I was startled by a dark figure sitting at the door. By the light coming from inside the room, I recognized Gu Wenlin. He reeked of alcohol. I had no idea how long he had been sitting there. I realized that even with a second chance at life, I still couldn't understand him. I took a flashlight and went to find Bai Xiaomei. When Bai Xiaomei heard that I was calling her to take Gu Wenlin home, she was clearly taken aback. Still, without a word, she followed me back to the dorm. Gu Wenlin fell asleep, and Bai Xiaomei struggled to drag her away. I didn't help. The man she fell in love with, she'll have to deal with the consequences herself. The next day, as I was heading out with my luggage, Aunt Wan came looking for me. She dragged me along to see the drama. I followed her all the way to the wedding house that once belonged to Gu Wenlin and me. There I saw Gu Wenlin, furious, staring at Bai Xiaomei, who was sitting on the ground, disheveled. It turned out that after Bai Xiaomei took Gu Wenlin home last night, thinking about how Gu Wenlin chased after me, only to come back looking utterly lost, and how he fell asleep drunk in front of my dormitory door. He even called out my name in his dreams. She could no longer sit still. Taking advantage of Gu Wenlin's drunkenness, she slept with him, even though he mistook her for me. After hearing roughly what happened from the villagers, I felt nothing but disgust. I picked up my luggage and turned to leave, but Gu Wenlin grabbed my arm. Man, let me explain. This jerk just doesn't know when to stop. I took a deep breath, my eyes calm as I looked at him. Gu Wenlin, I thought I made myself perfectly clear to you yesterday. Gu Wenlin tried to look into my eyes, hoping to see even a trace of lingering affection for him, but to his disappointment, all he found in my gaze was the indifference you'd show a stranger. Because I didn't care. I wasn't angry. Because I wasn't angry, it didn't matter. He finally realized that I truly didn't care about him anymore. Gu Wenlin weakly let go of my hand. His voice was low and muffled as he softly said behind me, I'm sorry. What was he sorry for? Apologizing for this lifetime, or the last. I left Yuanshan village. I returned to the capital city, Jingshi. Seeing my healthy and happy parents again, I broke down in tears. Every day after my rebirth, although I appeared carefree, a heavy mountain had always been pressing down on my heart. That was my whole life. A life so heavy it suffocated me. How could I possibly let it go so easily? It wouldn't be too much even if Gu Wenlin and Bai Xiaomei were hacked to pieces, but I have parents, a brother, and a sister-in-law. I can't ruin my second chance at life because of two rotten people. Only now, seeing my parents healthy and not yet burdened by me, do I finally feel the relief of having a great weight lifted off my shoulders. I spent a few days living that harmonious life of doting parents and a dutiful child. I threw myself back into work, free from the burden of my son and my in-laws. I performed exceptionally well. Before long, I got a raise and a promotion. I was also appointed as a professor at a university, finally fulfilling my long-held dream of becoming a teacher. The next time I heard news of Gu Wenlin was a year later. Bai Xiaomei finally realized her wish from her previous life. She married Gu Wenlin and became his lawful wife. Shortly after the wedding, Gu Wenlin took her back to the capital, Jingshi. Father Gu and Mother Gu were anything but easy to deal with. In my past life, I had a good family background and a good job. Yet they still looked down on me, so they thought even less of Bai Xiaomei, who was unemployed. Thus, they used every trick in the book to torment Bai Xiaomei. The Gu household was in chaos every single day. Gu Wenlin wanted to take Bai Xiaomei away, but Father Gu and Mother Gu refused to agree, kicking up a huge fuss to the point of threatening to kill themselves. They believed that Bai Xiaomei, being jobless, was marrying above her station. The mere thought of Bai Xiaomei ruining things between me and his son, they were gnashing their teeth with hatred. No matter what, they refused to let Gu Wenlin take Bai Xiaomei away. They just wanted to keep Bai Xiaomei by their side, to work like a slave for them. A childhood sweetheart is no match for a sudden flame. Romantic vows under the moonlight are equally no match for life's daily grind. As time passed, even Gu Wenlin came to see Bai Xiaomei as nothing special. Without Gu Wenlin's love, Bai Xiaomei was no different from a vulgar shrew on the streets. Not long after, Gu Wenlin applied for a transfer, and this time he didn't take Bai Xiaomei with him. Later, it was said that Bai Xiaomei fought back. She and Gu's parents tormented each other, and all of them ended up in misery. Then came word that Gu Wenlin had cheated. In a fit of rage, Bai Xiaomei went to his workplace and reported him. She accused Gu Wenlin of having raped her while drunk during his time in Yuanshan village. That I hadn't expected. Indeed, someone who can be a lifetime mistress to a scumbag is never a pushover. To my surprise, it was Gu Wenlin in my previous life, the one who resented me because of Bai Xiaomei's regret, the one who was utterly devastated as he looked at Bai Xiaomei's posthumous photo, the one who suffered in remorse after watching me leave. Story 2. After another cold war with my childhood sweetheart, I didn't go to coax him. My friends came to persuade me. He's just being awkward, saying one thing and meaning another. A stubborn person needs a patient lover. But I was really tired and didn't want to lower my head anymore. These years of cold wars, arguments, and evasions had made me so exhausted that I couldn't tell whether he was really stubborn or just didn't love me anymore. So when he threatened me with a breakup again, I said, then let's break up. Hearing me say this, Liam was obviously stunned, but I just lowered my head and continued speaking. I'll pack my things and take them away as soon as possible. As for the other things we bought together, forget it, I'll leave them to you. And as for the clothes you left at my place, if possible, please come and pick them up as soon as you can, or I can call a courier and send them to you. In the quiet room, only my voice could be heard. Liam's expression changed from gloomy to expressionless. He suddenly interrupted me. What about pudding? How do we divide it? Pudding was a stray cat I picked up at the entrance of the community. I adopted it and covered all its expenses, but it wasn't close to me. 8 out of 10 times, it wouldn't let me hold it. It even scratched my wrist a few times. On the contrary, Liam, who usually treated it coldly and never cared about it, was the one it would actively rub against and meow affectionately to. I'll leave it to you too. I let out a breath. Even if I liked it very much, such differential treatment was disheartening. Nicola, Liam suppressed his anger. You were the one who missed Valentine's Day, and now you're throwing a tantrum. But didn't Liam mention breaking up first? Maybe he forgot. After all, he always had the words break up on his lips. Since this threat worked on me, it had become his common tool. I said it was because the flight was delayed that I came back late. Liam just sneered. Excuses. Why couldn't you buy an earlier flight during this business trip? I worked continuously for more than 10 hours to compress my work and then caught the plane back that day. But Liam wouldn't listen. He would find 100 more reasons to blame me, so I fell silent, feeling a deep sense of powerlessness in my heart. Liam walked a few steps towards the door, then turned back with a cold tone. I won't come back until you realize your mistake, I said. We've already broken up. But Liam seemed not to have heard me. He tilted his head and continued on his own. I'll give you another chance. I'm angry not just because you were late. This was the first time he had said something like this. Usually, he would just slam the door and leave, although his tone was still stiff. Think it over and then come to apologize to me. I sat on the sofa for a long time. Then, dragging my tired body, I cleaned up the living room. I also picked up the gift from the trash can. This was a gift I carefully selected after visiting more than a dozen stores abroad, but the owner of the gift didn't even take a look at it and didn't cherish it, so it was as worthless as the mess on the floor after cleaning the living room. I went to the room to pack my things. This was Liam's house. Everywhere in the house was filled with traces of my existence, the water cups, blankets, and couple's tableware we chose together. I only packed a few clothes and then carried the suitcase and walked out. When I reached the door, a yellow figure suddenly rushed out, as if trying to stop me, lay down in the middle of the living room and didn't move. Its round eyes stared at me intently. When I first picked it up, it was dirty and thin, as if suffering from malnutrition. Now its fur was fluffy and shiny, looking very adorable. I squatted down. This time, Pudding was unusually obedient and didn't resist my touch. I stroked its head. I'm leaving. He'll take care of you from now on. Pudding should like this result. After all, it had always liked Liam, unlike me, who was never close to it. I gently removed Pudding's claws that were tightly gripping my trouser leg. Ignoring its noisy meowing, I carried the suitcase and left. When I reached the entrance of the community, I received a phone call. It was from a friend of Liam's. His tone was accusatory. Nicola, why did you quarrel with Liam again? He's drinking now, and no one can stop him. Hurry up and come get him back. He's going to smash up my store. I felt rather helpless. I don't know why he's angry. He came in and directly overturned the table. There was a pause on the other end of the phone, and the tone was surprised. You don't know, he found out that you had dinner with another man, and that man even sent you back to the hotel. Liam is jealous, I explained. That was a client. We had dinner just for business. He sent me because it was raining that day, and I couldn't get a taxi. So this was the real reason why Liam was angry. Liam had always been like this. He would get jealous and angry if I talked to others a little more. I knew it was because he loved me and had a possessive desire for me, but now, all I felt in my heart was fatigue. I can explain everything, I just don't understand, I said softly to the person on the phone. Why would he rather tell you guys everything than ask me? I had once asked my best friend what she would do when she quarreled with her boyfriend. My best friend thought for a while and said, it depends on who's right and who's wrong. After both of us calmed down, we just talk it out. Right, but Liam wouldn't. He would keep everything to himself. I never knew why he was angry. Every time I had to guess or ask his friends, I couldn't figure out why he didn't want to communicate with me, nor could I understand why he would rather confide in his friends than come to me to get things clear. Later, I learned a word: stubborn. Liam was the most stubborn person I had ever met. He was sensitive and moody. He would always avoid and retreat, testing me with cold words. Everyone said that stubborn people were not suitable for relationships, only I didn't believe it and rushed in with full enthusiasm. But now I was confused. If only one person was always taking the initiative in a relationship, could this relationship really last? I moved back to my own home, but even if we didn't see each other in our daily lives, we still had to meet at work. We worked in the same research institute but in different departments. When handing over work, I saw a young girl beside Liam. The girl had a pure temperament. She was a newly recruited graduate student this year named Sarah. When Liam saw me, his eyes lit up instantly, but I didn't look at him and just calmly handed over the work. Then Liam's gentle expression turned cold immediately. He looked straight ahead and walked past me without saying a word. I heard Sarah curiously gossiping. Why does teacher Liam have such a big scar on his arm? I was startled when I saw it for the first time. Someone answered, "You're new here, so you don't know. Our Liam and Nicola from the next department are a couple, well, known as a perfect match. That scar was from an earthquake drill. Liam carried Lynn and got injured. I heard that because of this scar, he couldn't become a pilot, so he switched to another major and then came to our research institute." Sarah's eyes were full of envy. So touching. They're really a perfect match. Everyone's gossipy hearts were instantly ignited, from Liam giving up his dream for me to him applying for the research institute for me. Everyone was praising Liam's deep love and expressing their envy for me. These days Cold War had also become a flirting method between lovers. I bet this time it's still Nicola who will apologize first. Last time she treated us to milk tea. What will it be this time? I want to eat cupcakes. I don't agree. You're cheating. Every time it's Nicola who bows her head first. If you bet that Liam will apologize, then I'll bet with you. I stood in the corner, silently listening to everyone's laughter, but this time, they were all wrong. Liam and I have broken up. Please don't mention it again in the future. My appearance ended this conversation. Everyone looked at each other in dismay and then quickly dispersed. In fact, our relationship wasn't as well matched as others thought. Repeated cold wars and arguments had left scars on our relationship, making it precarious without us even realizing it. I really wanted to know that if I stopped patching it up and no longer tried to save it, would Liam notice and try to save it this time? Would he come and apologize to me first? A whole month passed. Liam and I were like strangers, as if competing. Neither of us was willing to give in first. At the same time, Sarah and Liam were getting closer and closer. They ate together and got off work together. Even during the weekend team building, Liam chose to be in the same group as her for mountain climbing. On the contrary, Sarah seemed a bit hesitant. Is this not so good? What about Nicola? Liam's tone was cold. Didn't we break up? Why should I care about her? He didn't lower his voice, and everyone around could hear him. And she likes having dinner with other men so much. She must be the same when climbing mountains. Instantly, the way people around me looked at me changed. Some people started whispering, she doesn't cherish such a good boyfriend like Liam and even flirts with others. No wonder Liam broke up with her. When they saw me approaching, those who were gossiping dispersed. On the way up the mountain, Sarah sprained her ankle. Without hesitation, Liam squatted down and carried her on his back. Sarah said guiltily, "I'm sorry, I made us the last ones." Liam comforted her gently. "It's okay, this is just for relaxation, the ranking doesn't matter." I was a bit further behind them. The number of people who came this time was odd, and everyone had already chosen their partners. I didn't want to break up others, so I simply formed a group by myself. I had always been physically weak, and now I was already a bit out of breath. The two people in front had a harmonious atmosphere. I even heard someone praising Liam for being responsible. Liam was indeed a responsible person. He was polite and gentlemanly to everyone except me. In college, he was the class monitor. During an earthquake drill, everyone rushed out. Only he rushed towards me and carried me on his back because I had sprained my ankle a few days ago. This incident was talked about throughout the school, and everyone envied my good luck. But at that time, Liam was actually scolding me. "Do you know? You're so troublesome. If your foot is sprained, can't you just not come to class? This time you made our class the last again. Nicola, you really can't do anything right." In fact, I wanted to say that I had asked the teacher for leave and didn't need to participate in the drill, but hearing his harsh words, I didn't want to talk back and make him angry. Later, his friend told me that Liam was saying one thing and meaning another. He was worried about my foot injury and wanted me to rest at home, and he even specifically found an old Chinese doctor to prescribe medicine for me. He earned 100 yuan a day from his part-time job, but one of your plasters cost 80 yuan. He didn't hesitate and bought enough for half a month. My best friend also envied me. He's just being awkward, but he really loves you. This tsundere character is so cute. But now, seeing the way Liam comforted Sarah, I realized that he wasn't incapable of being gentle. He just wasn't gentle with me. I could feel his love for me from what others said, but I had never felt it from his attitude. He always spoke harshly to me, showed me a cold face, scolded me for being stupid and frivolous, cut up the scarf someone else gave me, and smashed the game console a colleague lent me. I thought he was just jealous and cared too much about me, so after being pushed away and refused to communicate with me again and again, I always comforted myself and then continued to take the initiative, be enthusiastic, and tirelessly apologize and bow my head, but enthusiasm also needs to be reciprocated. In this relationship, I wasn't invincible. I also felt wronged and sad. Stubbornness and not loving looked so similar. I was so sad that I couldn't tell whether Liam was really stubborn or didn't love me anymore, so I stopped, withdrew from this team building, and sent a message to the leader saying that I wasn't feeling well. After returning home, I sorted out Liam's things and packed up the gifts he gave me over the years. I called a courier and sent them to his home. After finishing all this, I sat on the sofa and stared blankly for a while. Then I picked up my phone and sent a text message to Liam. There were only 3 short words: "Let's break up." Last time it was just out of anger, and I was still fantasizing that he would take the initiative to reconcile with me, but this time it was for real. I really wanted to break up with him. That message didn't go through. I forgot that Liam had blocked me again. He was always like this. Once we had a cold war, he would delete all my contact information. I pursed my lips and asked his friend to convey my message. In the past, I always complained that Liam used his friends as messengers. I never thought that I would need to do the same now. When sending a message, I accidentally clicked into his friend's moments. The latest post was a group photo with the seaside as the background. In the center of the photo were Liam and Sarah. Sarah was smiling happily with her arm on Liam's back, and Liam also looked completely relaxed. The post time was a week ago, during the Cold War between Liam and me. I stared at it for a long time and then gave it a like. Previously, Liam was busy with work. He said that traveling was an economic lie and a form of consumerism, that the places you wanted to visit were just scenery that the locals were already tired of. I accommodated him and never went traveling, but now, I suddenly wanted to go out and see the world. Perhaps I had long become someone that Liam was tired of seeing. That's why when a younger and more beautiful girl appeared, he would quarrel with me and start a cold war. Some people say that love means being cold to others but gentle to you, but Liam was the opposite. He was gentle and encouraging to Sarah, but only cold-spoken to me. I was being insensitive and didn't notice his boredom. I applied for annual leave and booked a flight. The scenery there was beautiful, and there were also many delicious foods. During a chat, I asked an old lady if she ever got tired of living here since she was a child. The old lady smiled cheerfully. "This is home. With the hometown developing so well, I'm only proud. How could I be tired?" She said she loved here, loved her hometown. It suddenly dawned on me that everyone might look at the same scenery for a long time, but it turned out that with love, there would be no boredom. Unexpectedly, on the 3rd day, I received a call from Liam. I didn't know when he unblocked me. His tone was stiff. "Pudding's cat food is finished, and I don't know which kind to buy." I told him the brand and added, "You can use the previous method of taking a photo and identifying it with the app. There's no need to ask me." Liam avoided answering. I threw away the packaging bag. Then he asked, "What should I do if Pudding broke the cat climbing frame?" "Just buy a new one." Pudding went downstairs to play just now and got covered in mud. "Take it to the pet store for a bath." Liam asked a lot of questions, and I answered them one by one. Then, suddenly, neither of us knew what to say. After waiting for a while and seeing that he didn't continue, I said, "Then I'll hang up. You can search for the precautions for raising a cat on the internet. Don't ask me in the future." It was very quiet on the other side. Just before hanging up, Liam said, "Pudding misses you. Do you want to come back and see it?" I didn't quite believe this. Due to the nature of our work, Liam and I often went on business trips. Every time Liam came back, Pudding would squat at the door in advance and happily rush up to meow when it saw him, but not for me. I had to take the initiative to find it. During the business trips, I missed it very much, but Pudding still disliked me, avoiding me. It would only reluctantly let me hold it when lured with cat treats. It didn't miss me before, so why would it now? I refused. "No need, it's your cat. It's not appropriate for me to go and see it." After hanging up the phone, I let out a long breath. I didn't understand why Liam made this call. Was he really asking me questions, or did he find Pudding troublesome? Well, he had always been self-disciplined, calm, and meticulous. Taking care of a cat was too difficult and troublesome for him until the early morning. I was still tossing and turning. I picked up my phone and tried to send a text message. "If you find Pudding troublesome, then give it back to me." I was afraid that Liam would be impatient and treat Pudding Badly. What if he really got tired of it and threw pudding away? Then it would be better for me to raise it. Even if pudding didn't like me, I would take responsibility and ensure its life. It was already 3 o'clock, and unexpectedly, he replied instantly, "You want pudding? Even if you leave me, you have to take it away." Before I could reply, another message came, "What about me?" But the next second, this sentence was withdrawn. I suspected I was seeing things. After a while, Liam sent another message, "Send me your location, I'll take pudding to find you." In the coffee shop, Liam was holding pudding. He looked travel-worn, with faint dark circles under his eyes. I didn't expect him to come so quickly. Calculating the time, he should have booked the earliest flight right after sending the text message. As soon as pudding saw me, it struggled desperately. After being put down, it immediately rushed to my feet and squatted there. Rarely, it gave me the same treatment as Liam, meowing affectionately at me. But this time, I just opened the cat cage and didn't reach out to hold it. There were 3 or 4 scratches on my arm, and the scars wouldn't fade. My sadness was also real. After picking up pudding, I was about to leave, but Liam stopped me. He pursed his lips. "Someone told me that the person you met on the business trip last time was just a client. I got angry with you without getting things clear. Also, about the moments you liked, my friend took me to relax. And we happened to meet Sarah, so we took a group photo together." I stopped and listened quietly to Liam's words. He might have thought that I broke up with him because I misunderstood his relationship with Sarah, but actually, before Sarah appeared, our relationship was already on the verge of collapse. Liam tried several times and finally said with difficulty, "I'm sorry, it was my fault for the last quarrel." After saying this, his whole face turned red. He stuck out his neck and didn't even dare to look at me, looking very humiliated. So I asked him, "Liam, is it really that embarrassing to apologize to me?" Why was it so hard for Liam to say it, and why did he look so embarrassed? If apologizing made him feel humiliated, if lowering his head meant admitting defeat, then what about me who always chose to apologize and make up first? Liam's eyes turned red. "I thought you knew I was just being angry. After that day, I've been waiting for us to make up. I didn't really want to break up. I just wanted you to coax me." He tremblingly took out a gift box from his arms. "I also prepared a gift for you, that necklace you like the most." Liam's voice was choked with sobs. "Why can you break up so easily and be so heartless? 7 years of relationship, you left so resolutely, but you only want pudding and not me." I felt very tired and couldn't explain it clearly to Liam. He thought that me saying break up was also out of anger, just like him, but hurtful words, when said too often, would become a reality. I said, "The break-up is not because of anything else, but because of your personality. You always refuse to communicate, always be stubborn, and always avoid problems." Liam clenched his fists and accused me. "In the end, these are all just excuses. It's just because you don't love me enough. You want to give up on me, give up on our relationship." Liam repeated, word by word, with red eyes. "Nicola, you don't love me enough. 7 years of chasing, 7 years of taking the initiative. In the end, I got the blame of not loving enough." I retorted to Liam, "What about you? Have you made any changes because of loving me?" I knew about his stubbornness, his sensitivity, and his insecurity, so I always tried to maintain our relationship carefully. I never dared to say break up out of anger, because I knew that once I said this, with Liam's pride, he definitely wouldn't lower his head, and then we would be completely over. But he could say it recklessly because I would always give in. I always tried to be a patient lover who couldn't be driven away, but this kind of love was too tiring. I took 100 steps towards Liam, but he thought it was embarrassing to even look back, so in the end, my love would also be worn out, bearing the blame of not loving enough. I was no longer willing to persist. The two of us ended up being bruised all over. The person who loves you the most knows exactly what words can hurt you, so I counter-attacked Liam, word by word. "Liam, no one can stand you, no one will love you, you don't deserve to be loved by others." After the trip, I applied for a transfer in the institute and was transferred to a research institute in Shenzhen. The equipment there was more advanced and could provide me with the best development opportunities. When I was leaving, Sarah came over hesitantly. "Nicola, I'm sorry, I really just happened to meet teacher Liam last time. He was in a bad mood during that time, so he went to the seaside to relax." I glanced at her and then lowered my head. "You don't need to apologize to me. Liam should be the one to apologize to you." The young girl was so young that she didn't even realize how obvious the admiration in her eyes was. In fact, Liam getting close to her was also somewhat intentional. Liam was a person with a cleanliness fetish, including in relationships. I had never doubted his loyalty and exclusivity. I knew he wanted to make me jealous and force me to look for him. This was a method he dared to use. During previous Cold Wars, I also tried to make him jealous. I was full of anticipation that this would make him feel a sense of crisis and stop getting angry with me, but it didn't work. Liam threw all my things out of the door, completely ignored me, and even asked his friends around him to block me. That's when I realized that this method didn't work on him. If I took a step back, he would take 100 steps back. Between us, one side had to stubbornly cling on to maintain the relationship, and that person was always me. After coming to Shenzhen, I made some new friends. During holidays, we would make appointments to go bungee jumping and skiing. I couldn't remember how long it had been since I last played such extreme sports. I used to be optimistic and confident, always an active participant in various school activities. Later, Liam hid my passport and ID card. He frowned and said unhappily, "Nicola, can't you stop running around like a monkey?" My friends persuaded me. "You know him, right? He means the opposite of what he says. He's clearly worried about your safety and afraid that you'll get into trouble. You know, these extreme sports are always prone to accidents. He wouldn't care if he didn't love you." I was persuaded. From then on, I quit all the groups and gave up all extreme sports. But now, as I was skiing, feeling the gentle breeze and watching the sunset, my friends were screaming and praising me. "Nicola, you're amazing. This is professional level. You could even be an athlete." Everyone huddled together, chatting and joking merrily. Even if there was a little unhappiness, after a meal, we would get together again, chatting and laughing. No matter who it was, they would directly say what they wanted to do. It had been so long since I heard praises and felt so relaxed. I was also infected by this atmosphere. I smiled and exhaled the pent-up frustration in my heart. I never thought I would meet Liam again. He was alone at the entrance of the community. I didn't know how long he had been standing there, and his face was a bit pale from the cold. As soon as he saw me, his eyes lit up. He quickly walked towards me and then slowly stopped. He saw the snowboard on my back and immediately became unhappy. "I've told you so many times not to go skiing. Do you know how many people become disabled due to accidents every year? Do you also want to be in a wheelchair and be taken care of like a useless person every day? Do you just mess around when I'm not around to watch you?" He snatched my snowboard and threw it hard on the ground. The snowboard cracked, and passers-by around all cast surprised glances. Perhaps Liam's behavior was too terrifying. A kind-hearted passer-by came over, looking at him warily, and said, "Don't be afraid, girl, stand behind me. I'm a veteran, and I'll protect you." I don't know which word irritated Liam. He suddenly roared, "Mind your own business. Who the hell are you? What are you crazy about? Do you even deserve to protect her?" The two were almost about to fight and were pulled apart by the onlooking crowd. I shook my head apologetically at the man. "Thank you, I'd better handle this myself." I picked up my phone, looked at Liam, and said calmly, "I've already called the police." "Liam, it's you who's going crazy." In the police station, Liam and I sat face to face, neither of us speaking first. The police officer smiled unpersuaded. "Young couple having a fight. It's just a family matter. What's the point of reporting it? Go home and sort it out." Then he looked at Liam. "You should also coax your girlfriend more. What's the need to argue with a girl?" I interrupted the police officer's words. "We're not a couple, and it's not a family matter. I'm reporting as an ordinary citizen, accusing him of damaging personal property." I didn't understand why all conflicts and harm, once labeled as a relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, would be classified as a family matter. As long as the other person was a husband or a boyfriend, then the harm was no longer considered harm, and it could be minimized or even ignored. When conflicts occurred between strangers, they could be reported and judged. Why could boyfriends, girlfriends, and couples get a reduced punishment and just be mediated? The police officer's face turned awkward because of my words. Finally, he became expressionless, put away his joking manner, and started following the procedures meticulously. Liam paid the fine, compensated for my economic losses, and finally wrote a guarantee. Before walking out of the police station, he turned back to shake hands with the police officer. "Sorry for the trouble." I watched coldly. Liam was just like this. He wasn't incapable of apologizing. He was always polite in front of outsiders, but when it came to me, it was so hard for him to lower his head. The person closest to him was the one he hurt the most. I walked forward quickly, but Liam didn't give up and chased after me closely. "Nicola, can we talk?" I didn't stop walking. "We can talk, but after this, don't show up in front of me again. Can you do that?" Liam paused for a moment and then said yes. We found a nearby store. After entering, I ordered an iced Americano. Liam instinctively stopped me. "It's winter, and you're still drinking something cold. Waiter, change it to a hot latte." I looked at him coldly, and Liam froze. He pursed his lips and didn't say anything more after sitting down. I got straight to the point. So, what do you want to talk about? Liam stiffened his body and tried to make his expression gentle. I thought a lot after I went back. You're right. The problem between us is the lack of honesty. I haven't made any mistakes in principle. I just don't know how to communicate. But I can change all of this. He looked at me cautiously. Nicola, I'll try my best to change. Don't break up, okay? I had been waiting for these words for 7 years. Finally, Liam said them, but it was too late. I said, no. Liam's eyes suddenly became panicked, as if he had thought of something. He hurriedly rolled up his sleeve to show me the scar on his arm. The scar on his arm was the evidence that he gave up his dream for me. It was Liam's greatest reliance and his biggest leverage. Every time he showed it, I would be speechless and start to give in. But this time, I didn't move. After a long time, I said softly, Liam, actually, even without the scar, you couldn't become a pilot, right? I found out some time ago that Liam's father had been in prison and had a criminal record. Whether there was the scar or not, Liam couldn't pass the political review, but he had always hidden this from me. Do you know, it's very tiring to bear someone else's dream. Because of me, Liam couldn't become a pilot, and thus he stood on the moral high ground. Everyone demanded that I tolerate and accommodate him, and because of my guilt, I had been enduring all his bad temper. Whenever I doubted our relationship, someone would bring up this matter to accuse me. He gave up his dream for you, and you still say he doesn't love you. Nicola, don't be too unreasonable. Over time, even I believed in Liam's love. Liam said anxiously, you know, my family situation is not good. My parents don't love me. You're my first love. I've never loved anyone before, and I don't know how to love either. Then why don't you learn? My emotions got a bit out of control, and my voice was choked with sobs. So I deserve to be deceived by you and be played around. Liam, do you deceive me because you think I'm stupid? Liam quickly retorted, no. He raised his head, and I could almost see tears welling up in his eyes. He said in a low voice, it's because of my inferiority. Because of inferiority, he was sensitive. Because of inferiority, he was rude. And because of the lack of love, he didn't know how to love. So he was always worried about losing me and repeatedly tested me. He was afraid that I would leave him, so he used my guilt to tie me tightly by his side. But these are all excuses. Why is being mean considered a shortcoming? But being stubborn isn't. Their harm to others is the same. Just because you lack love doesn't mean you can hurt others. Stop making excuses for yourself. You're selfish and cold-hearted, so you know it clearly but are unwilling to change. I returned Liam's words to him exactly as he had said them. Liam, it's you who doesn't love me. Enough. After that day, I really didn't see Liam again. He seemed to have kept his promise and no longer showed up in front of me. I went about my work as usual. In my free time, I participated in various competitions. During a marathon, I was maliciously knocked down by someone, and I reported it to the referee, who disqualified that person from the competition. That person held a grudge. On my way home from work, he deliberately drove a motorcycle to hit me, trying to teach me a lesson. I had already noticed something was wrong when I was being followed by that motorcycle, but it was still a step too late, and I couldn't shake him off. 1 second before being hit, I was violently pulled away. A muffled groan sounded, and Liam, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, suddenly appeared. He protected me behind him, but his arm was broken in the collision. Seemingly noticing that I was looking at him, Liam turned his face. His forehead was covered with fine cold sweat due to the pain. He tried his best to raise the corners of his mouth to comfort me. Don't be afraid. In the hospital, the doctor was treating Liam, and I stood aside. When everyone had left, I said, I've already called the police. The police will contact you later, and you'll get compensation for medical expenses and other losses. I put down the fruit basket and was about to leave. Liam stopped me. What about you? He stammered. I saved you. Don't you have anything else to say? I paused, and my voice turned cold. Are you trying to blackmail me with your kindness again? What is it this time? Do you want me to get back together with you? Liam's face instantly turned pale, and he said anxiously, Nicola, that's not what I mean. I just want to talk to you more. I let out a breath and relaxed a bit. That's good. My relaxation seemed to sting Liam. He looked at me for a long time and said in a bitter tone, have I become such an image in your heart now? Even when I save you, you think I'm acting? I didn't say anything, but my silence gave Liam the answer. Everything that happens leaves a mark. Liam had deceived me before. On the surface, everything seemed fine, but after that, whenever he did something similar, I dared not believe him anymore. I would doubt, hesitate, and waver. Once there was a crack in the relationship, it could never go back to the way it was. Once trust collapsed, it was like spilled water that couldn't be retrieved. A noisy commotion came from outside the corridor, but the ward was very quiet, as if they were in two different worlds. Liam took a deep breath. Nicola, I came this time just to say goodbye to you. Actually, I could vaguely sense that there was something wrong with my personality, but I couldn't bring myself to care or take it seriously. I'll be transferred to work in the United States next month. There, I'll see a psychologist, seriously receive treatment, and try to correct my shortcomings. Liam's fingers were trembling. He tried hard to control it, but after several attempts, he failed. He looked at me, with anticipation in his eyes, just like a child, showing stubbornness. Nicola, if I really get better and learn how to love someone correctly, will you give me another chance? It was hard for me to describe my feelings at the moment. I had once firmly believed that two people who liked each other would never drift apart. I had once fantasized about a long-lasting relationship with Liam. There was no betrayal, no infidelity, and no third-party interference between us. But in the end, we still separated. It turned out that love could also be consumed on this ordinary day. Liam asked me if I was still willing to give him a chance. I heard myself say, no, let it go. Mutual pursuit is the most difficult thing in the world. When I was chasing Liam, he never looked back, and when he came towards me, I had already had enough of disappointment and left. The love in the past was real, but not loving anymore was also real, so just let it go and end it. Outside the hospital, I met Liam's friends who came to visit him. When they saw me, they all looked a bit awkward. I nodded indifferently and was about to leave, but they stopped me. The leader hesitated for a few times and then came up. Nicola, why did you delete all of our contact information? I turned my head. I've broken up with Liam. That person was unconvinced. You broke up with him, but we can still be friends, right? Others also gathered around, chattering and complaining, with a bit of grievance. After seeing that I didn't say anything for a long time, everyone quieted down and I spoke, my voice very calm. Friends, do you really consider me a friend? Then why do you always only speak well of Liam? That person was stunned for a moment and then smiled awkwardly. That's for your reconciliation. Do you think we should persuade you to break up? These people were Liam's friends, and they had their own biases. Everyone spoke for Liam and made excuses for him. My grievances were invisible and insignificant. So when they said we were friends, I just found it ridiculous. There's no need to contact each other anymore. It's not necessary. After saying that, I didn't want to pay attention to them anymore and turned to leave. The next time I heard about Liam was a year later. I was on a business trip to the United States and happened to meet him on the street. He was alone, staring blankly at a stray cat on the street. Nicola, how is Pudding? Ever since I took Pudding away, for some reason, it changed its previous cold attitude and became close to me. The scars on my arm that were scratched by it gradually fell off and recovered over time. It's doing well. It's gotten a bit fatter. That's good. After a few words, there was no more topic between us. I looked at my watch and didn't want to waste any more time here. Mr. G, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. After nodding politely, I picked up my bag and was about to leave. Liam stopped me. He tugged at the corners of his mouth, trying to show a smile. Nicola, what do you think of me now? He even did a little spin, stepping back to let me observe. I thought for a while, you seem good too. The former Liam had a cold face towards everyone. Behind his surface politeness was real aloofness, but just now, when he passed by a booth, he naturally helped pick up the fallen oranges. When someone bumped into him, he also said gently that it was okay, unlike before when he would look disgusted. It seemed that he had become more human-like. I didn't expect that psychological treatment really worked. Liam stammered, so I've changed for the better now. I still love you. Can you? Then I wish Mr. G to become even better and meet someone better. I interrupted him. Liam's face instantly turned pale, but I had already walked away towards the setting sun. The afterglow of the sunset spilled over the earth. A warm light fell on everyone. I no longer had to guess Liam's hidden thoughts. He had become bold and brave. Without hesitation, he was willing to straightforwardly express his love and his persistence. But no one will always stay in the same place, waiting. Liam would get better, but I would become even better. A withered tree can sprout new buds. After the sunset, there will be a new sun rising tomorrow. It was a long time later that I understood, taking the initiative is a kind of talent. A very rare talent. I will move towards a better future and have a better life.